Hello everyone, BuzZz here, and welcome back to some more Space Engineers. Now, because of the recent updates with Star Citizen, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play Space Engineers or build anything new, but I was digging through this Steam Workshop, and I came across something pretty amazing. Now there's a guy out there in Steam, his name is, and excuse me if I mispronounce this, Bo Energus 929. Again, sorry, Bo, if I messed that up. But he has created this. Yes, that is a Bengal carrier, ladies and gentlemen. And a very, very nice job of it. This ship is absolutely massive. It weighs in probably around 75 million kilos in Space Engineers. It has fully working defenses, doors. It's set up for survival. It has turrets, like a man turret on the rear, on the bottom. And the detail work is pretty amazing. One of the hardest things to get right in Space Engineers is scale. And I've put a couple of my ships inside of the hangars, but they're a little bit tight, but I don't know if it's because my scale's too big, or his is too small, or a combination of the two. Let's go take a look. As you can see, he has the interior defenses done as well. Going up these stairs, here is your, well, this is what I believe to be the main bridge. There's the upper bridge, which is probably the command deck. Let's start off up here. How about that? As you can see, here's his main command deck. Now the ship's a little slow, of course, because it weighs so damn much, but I mean that's really couldn't be helped. But he did include a gravity drive, so it will get up and go at a decent space, but any ship this size is going to be very, very slow to accelerate, very, very slow to decelerate and maneuver. Here's a look at the bottom. You can see the man turret below, and we'll check that out here in a bit. Overall, very, very nice work. Again, there's your command deck. This is what I'm assuming is the, well, I guess you'd call it the con. Okay. So that's the door to get out again, I believe. Yes. So we'll continue down into the belly of the ship. And there's I think this is an observation deck up here. Interesting use of the doors as windows. Yes, and you can look out onto the main flight deck, or at least the top flight deck there. The ship is, as I said, fully plumbed. It has all of its conveyors set up, it has cargo, it has respawn rooms. Yep, this is the medical room, so this is where you'd respawn. There's one on either side. Defenses, the only thing it's missing is air, oxygen, but I believe he built this before that system was put in effect. come from up here? Oh no, this is the entrance out onto the outside of the ship again. Okay, let me see if I can find the stairs down. Yeah, here we go. And we're moving down into the top deck, or the top flight deck. And here you see I've put a couple of my ships in here, my small snub fighters, the 85X and the P-52 Merlin. And this front door here actually opens. Very nice bit of engineering there. You can see it's got some landing gear in there because you have to lock the ship, lock the doors closed when the ship is moving, otherwise you get some problems with your doors falling off. But again, very nice work. I do like the look of the command area from here. Okay, let's move on. We'll head down into the main flight deck. Okay, and here's the rear door. I've got my 300i here. Again, it's a little big for the hangar, but as I said, scale is really difficult to pull off in this game, especially when they have two different builders. So this piping here goes into, I believe this is the engine room. Yep, here's your power. These are your main thrusters. And then this control chair here will open the rear door. Let's watch that again. Really well done. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the front door here first before we go any lower in the ship. And here's my 350R. I don't know if you've seen, well, I'm sure you've seen this ship. This is my variant of the 300i. Main difference is the paint job, of course, and I did some refactoring of the rear section here, so it has the dual air intakes on top. Some little canard and tail wings. Slightly different engine setup. So it's a little bit faster, but not much faster than the 300i that I have built. There's some more. Those are meant to be air intakes on the bottom. My favorite of the 300 series. Let's open up this front door. Again, nicely done. I like how he has the door recess into the floor of the flight deck. And it looks like the entire ship is built out of heavy armor, so this thing will withstand quite a beating. Okay, let's start looking into bowels of the ship, the engineering sections. So down here, you could probably, if your ships fit, this would be an elevator where you'd have additional ship parking most likely, and you could float up there and stage them for launch. Back here we have a full refinery set up. Again, fully plumbed with the conveyor belt system. We've got some batteries, and you can see parts of his gravity drive, those red lines, those red blocks here are disabled gravity drive. I'll show you that when we start flying. And here, well, before we go there, let's take a look forward. You can see all the gyros for maneuvering the ship. Some of the gravity generators here. More of the gravity drive. And more gyros. A lot of gyros. It's hard to see just how far back those go, but they go pretty far back. A ship this size needs a lot of components to allow it to maneuver. Alright, now on to probably what I think is the coolest feature of the ship, the lower manned turret. Here we go. Find the control room here. Ah, here it is. It even has a little camera here, so if you want to set up a remote control, you can fire it from inside of the ship. Here we are inside. Let me disengage the locks. You can see it does actually pivot in both axes. Really well done. Make it to where I can see it here. Quite an achievement. Of course, you have to lock this thing in flight, otherwise it will come off. There you go. Alright, let's head to the cockpit again, or the command deck, or whatever you want to call it. And I know I'm in an empty world here, so you're not going to be able to see anything relative, any relative movement. Let me see, is this the one with the... One of these has the gravity drive in it. I think it's upstairs. Ah, here we go. So I'm turning. You can see how slow, if you can kind of watch the stars in the background, how slow it moves. But again, if you look on the right side there in the bottom, you can see the mass, almost 75 million kilos. And watch the speed as I engage the main thrusters. So you can see it's a pretty slow to accelerate. Right now I've been holding it for about 10 seconds and I'm only doing about 2 meters per second. But that's where the gravity drive comes in. Now, first thing you need to do whenever enabling any type of gravity drive system is you have to turn off your main gravity in your ship, and he has that already set up there on the 5 key. So let's turn that off. And then that 4 key is set up as the gravity drive. So watch the speed now. As you can see, it accelerates much, much faster. We're already up to 25. So probably a factor of 100 how fast this ship accelerates with the gravity drive. Unfortunately, when you do turn it off, oh, you know what? Forgot to turn the inertial dampeners off. That'll increase the acceleration even more. But if you turn that off, we're currently doing 67 meters per second, and turn back on inertial dampeners, you'll see that it still does take the ship a very, very long time to decelerate. Now, it might be a good idea. If I go in, I could probably fix that if I were to add a reverse feature to the gravity generators that drive the gravity system, drive system, and that would probably help you with slowing down. Okay, so here we are back at the foundry. I just wanted to give you a short look at some of the things I have been working on in Space Engineers. Some of the projects, a lot of these projects that I haven't completed, of course, on hold temporarily until I get a lull in Star Citizen activity again. I already showed you the 350R. It's slightly different geometry in the rear, extra wings, and oh yes, it has a slightly different engine setup, which gives it a little bit better speed. And one thing I haven't showed you yet is the 325 variant, which is pretty much a reskin of the 300i with some additional missile pylons. And you can see those there. Of course, that just leaves the 315P, which I don't know if I'm going to do right away because it's basically a reskin of the 300i, just slightly different engine setup. But I may do it in the future. This little spot is reserved for a project I'm working on. I don't want to spoil that surprise. I've also done some minor tweaks to the 890 jump. And by minor, I mean very minor. I've added a jump drive. So they just released the jump drive into Space Engineers, about 2-3 weeks ago. And I didn't want to put it in anywhere where it would impact the original design. So what I ended up having to do was put it, because it's such a large block, I had to put it under the floor here. And you can see my little panels there that are hiding it. Nope, wrong button. So if I pull up these panels, there you can see the jump drive. Why don't we go ahead and try that out? If you haven't seen the jump drive work in Space Engineers yet, it's a pretty neat little block. Well, little block, it's a pretty neat big block. Of course, I also had to modify the bottom a little bit, just the same way. It looks about the same from the outside. But let's go ahead and try that jump drive out. So let's power up here. Okay. Looks like a pretty good spot. Oh, there you can see the Bengal in the background. The scale to my 890. Again, I think the scale is off. The 890 is not my best scaled ship. It was more done by feel. So again, I don't know which scale is wrong. Probably both of them. Let's go ahead and power up jump drive here. I believe we're set up for a blind jump. Let me just verify that. Yes, we are. And if you didn't know, the jump drive, you can use it to do a blind jump. We'll just shoot you off in the direction that you are pointing. And right now my maximum jump distance with this mass of ship and the single jump drive is only 927 kilometers. But you can string multiple jump drives together if you have room, which I did not, to increase your range even more. So, okay, I've got a GPS location. This is my foundry location. You can also set it up to jump to a specific location. Alright, so now that we're ready to go, let me go ahead and go once again to an external view. Initiate our jump. And here we go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. We're now 927,386 meters from the foundry. That's quite a long distance, so I don't even think you'd be able to see the foundry from here at that distance. No, you cannot. But a nice tool, nice addition to Space Engineers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe button. And once again, this has been BuzZz Killer, and I'll see you guys in the verse.